I'm Tim, welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for your questions about buying this or any watch you see here on our channel or our website. Reach out to me at tmosso at thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing the late great Rolex Oyster Perpetual GMT-Master II 116710LN, also known as the all-black GMT. With the signature green GMT hand and GMT Master II script, this is the alternative to those cloying nicknames related to various types of colas. The timepiece, 40mm in Rolex 904L stainless steel, is so anti-corrosive per Rolex that you need not wash it after exposure to salt water. Nice and slim, it's only 12.1mm thick. If you measure it from lug to lug, it's 48.1mm, but with the solid end links of the bracelet, it extends to 51mm across the wrist with a 20mm spacing between the lugs. Throw it on the wrist, my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it wears easily and comfortably. A nice flat, flush, planted appearance. It does look bigger than 40, but it doesn't wear bigger than 40, so if you like the look of a larger watch, especially with the all-black bezel, you have the sense that the dial is extended out onto the bezel itself, giving you a bigger black disc and the apparent size being larger than, for example, a Pepsi or a Batman. Now, the timepiece is easy to wear under a cuff. You can see it'll slide underneath the sleeve, and it's nicely braced and counterweighted by the Oyster bracelet. Let's take a look at the hardware right here. You'll see the GMT being a flagship piece. It has polished center links, polished outer faces, satin shoulders. All removable links are fixed in place by screws, and there are plenty of gaps on the underside to vent the wrist on a hot day and avoid trapping wrist heat. You can see internally the clasp is finished, polished, with a beacon hook lift lock system. That's the first one to lock. And then there is a clamshell, so it is a double locking system with the Easy Link system inboard, which is the equivalent of 5mm of in or out adjustment without a tool. You snap it into place, you snap it up. It's the equivalent of adding or removing one full-size link. You can also see, if you look internally, there are a couple of small divots drilled inside of the clasp, so you can use a strap tool to change the anchoring point in 3 different ways inside the clasp. So 3 different ways to adjust fit: Easy Link, the divots, and removable links. Rolling over to the case flank, you know the Super Case by now. It actually debuted back in 2005 with the first of the Super Case GMTs. Sheer sides and squared off lugs with satin tops and polished flanks. The polishing is particularly bright and black, which is to say from almost any angle it looks black, the hallmark of good finishing. So Rolex cases, though somewhat sheer today, are beautifully executed in their way. You have more handsome execution topside with the bidirectional rotating GMT bezel. The ceramic insert is highly scratch resistant, and it acts as a heat shield for your watch to prevent it from scratches and scuffs. The deposits inside the indices and the numerals are actually platinum, so they will never tarnish or oxidize, so your bezel will look great over time. Bidirectional, you can tell that it's used for something other than diving. And in fact, back in 1954, the original Rolex GMT was designed for Pan Am with one time zone but a second 24-hour hand to be set to Greenwich Mean Time all the time. You would use the GMT offset of your port or airport of destination, and that bezel would allow you to temporarily read the extra time zone. Since 1983 with the GMT Master IIs, you've had the ability to read 3 time zones simultaneously, provided one, the 24-hour hand, is always set to Greenwich Mean Time. Now, of course, you do have 2 independent time zones on the dial. That's what a GMT Master II is. You can see the green lacquered GMT hand and the GMT script underneath that, a black lacquered dial, white hands in white gold, and of course white gold indices as well. You can see how I'm able to set that local 12-hour time zone hand independently, and I can even set the date forward and backwards depending on whether I'm traveling east or west. You can see the Rolex signature chapter ring inboard. It's the inside of the bezel. Underneath that dial, Rolex caliber 3186. 48-hour power reserve, bidirectional winding, 31 joules. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It does feature a stop seconds or hacking function, so if I wish, I can actually stop the balance and set the watch to the second against a reference time. Screw down crown, trip lock, 100 meters water resistant. The watch is adjusted in 5 positions in a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, but Rolex goes one better. Checking the watch as a fully assembled consumer article, unlike the bare COSC movement test, Rolex assures that the watch will run no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per day, the superlative chronometer standard. More refinements: it's got a free-sprung balance and a full balance bridge for shock resistance, an overcoil hairspring made by hand to help it keep excellent time in those multiple timing positions of its various tests, so concentric beating of the hairspring in any position for good timekeeping. And finally, that hairspring is made of a niobium zirconium alloy oxidized blue for stability. Rolex calls it parachrome blue, and it makes the watch highly anti-magnetic. This is a timepiece that puts it all together again. Automatic winding with bidirectional action, a jeweled staff, and Teflon-coated reversing wheels for very smooth and silent winding action to charge up that 48-hour power reserve. Of course, a manufacturer product inside and out. Rolex makes every part of its watch. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this, since 2019, discontinued GMT variant. Rolex proprietary Chromolite blue lume with the GMT-Master II. Note the loomed 24-hour hand.